Christianity is making a comeback, especially among adults. That's right, you probably heard all the doom and gloom about how Christianity was dying, especially in our younger crowd. Atheism is on the rise, and people are finally waking up to the reality that there is no God. Or so they say. No, it's actually quite the opposite. Let's take a look at this.
In a blockbuster report from the Barna Group, the number of American adults following Jesus has skyrocketed 12% since 2021. Why is this happening? Well, CBN's Billy Hollowell joins us now to discuss. So Billy, what struck you most about this report?
Yeah, I think the thing that struck me about this report is that it lines up with a number of other reports that we've seen, right? It's not just one study saying this. It's the Pew Research Center. It's the American Bible Society is about to release research in the next couple of days that's going to back a lot of this and actually be very encouraging when it comes to Bible use, right? So I think the thing for me is like, wow, all of these studies are pointing to this broader move that currently, right now, and that doesn't mean it won't change tomorrow, young people and adults are moving closer to God, have more interest in God. In fact, back in January, there was another survey that said that 52% of teenagers...
Hear that? Young people and adults are finally turning to God. Huh.
Were very motivated to learn about Jesus, right? That's more than half of teenagers who are saying, look, we want to learn more about Jesus. So obviously, I think the big question, right, is what is causing all of this? Why is this happening? And that's the thing that I think it's really fascinating when you start to sort of dig into that.
All right, so let's get to that in a second, but I want to read something. It says, among Gen Z men, commitment to Jesus. This is, wow, statistics. Think about this. Commitment to Jesus jumped 22 percentage points between 2021 and 2025. Millennial men saw a similar spike of 18 percentage points. I don't think you could overblow how big of a deal that is. It's not 2 or 3, 22%. Billy, why is this happening?
Okay, why is this happening? I have to throw one more thing out before I get into the why, because this is crazy. So Dr. John Plake with the American Bible Society, they're about to put their report out this Thursday. In their report, I was trying to get him to kind of tell me, like, what data do you have? He was basically saying what you just said, it's among men, but that some of the people who were most opposed to reading the Bible are now actively pursuing the Bible. So the people that were in the camps of like, oh, I don't ever read it, I'm not interested in it, that they're starting to read the Bible. What's interesting about that is it's not just like, oh, I'm a Christian, which we could all say like, oh, I'm a Christian, I believe this. It's actual action. It's reporting action of wanting to actually do something that proves you're interested in faith. So anyway, that data is coming.
Hear that? It's not just people coming forth, oh, I believe this, or yeah, sometimes I read my Bible. No, genuine people are coming to genuine faith, and they want to express that. They want to live it out.
But why is this happening? Here's my theory on this. My theory on this is that for a long time, people have been lied to. And this is why you're seeing politically and culturally and spiritually, all these things are mirroring each other. I'm not saying that the politics is the same as faith. What I'm saying is people are shifting quickly because they're realizing I haven't been told the truth, right? You sold me this lie, especially for young people. Like, you've sold me this lie. I can believe whatever I want. I can be a relativist. I can say that I can make up my own morality. And people have started to live that out. And what we're finding now is that it doesn't go well, that living it out.
Huh. Who would have thought? Moral relativism not working out. I mean, come on. When I look at moral relativism, I can't spot a single flaw in it. And for some reason now, it's just not working out. Why could that be?
Actually doesn't work. And so when you have young people realizing that, and older adults and millennials and everybody, but particularly young people who have been brought up on those lies, it's sort of like their lives are shattered and now they're looking for the truth. And so where do they find the truth? They find it in the opposite direction of where they've been led. And so
John
the cool
14,
thing
6.
right now is that is leading people towards faith, because that we know as Christians, that is where the truth is. So I think in a lot of ways, the enemy and culture and all these crazy things, doing the things they've done, have actually pointed people towards the truth inadvertently.
I love that. I picture Satan doing all these things to try to pull people away from Christ, and then his plan completely falls on top of him, and all these people are coming to Christ now. It's almost ironic. It's ironic.
And one of my favorite things is apologetics, and I think for me, if you're watching this and you're struggling with your faith, one of the things that just gets me really excited is that the more I looked at the evidence for the truth, I was like, all right, this is going to be a really uncomfortable place to be. But one of the just absolutely incredible things, in my opinion, about the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God of the Bible, Yeshua, Jesus, is that it's true. Like, yes, it's the truth, and like it's our salvation, but like sometimes I think we forget about the fact that this is actually true.
I think what he's trying to say is that the more and more he looks into the evidence for God, especially for Jesus, the more and more the evidence points him back to Christ. I do kind of get where he's getting at. Like, it becomes more of just this thing that you are so used to that once you really kind of grapple with, whoa, this is true. The evidence really does support it. Like, it just kind of blows your mind. And it's not like you forget, oh, I forgot it was true. It's not like that. It just, sometimes once you get that refresher, it can be mind blowing.
Like, from the people described in the Bible to how things happen to the universe beginning in a moment. Yeah. Like, you have all of these things that line up with truth, the evidence for the resurrection of Jesus, these archaeological finds they find every 5 seconds in Israel. And so when a lot of these other worldviews are kind of crumbling because it's like, built on sand, frankly, our faith isn't just the truth and like yes, it's the truth, but it's also true. And to me, I think that a lot of people in this next generation don't want the smoke screens, don't want the lasers, don't want the like hyper exciting church experience, which kind of I grew up with in the millennial 15, 20 years ago. You go to church and it's a rock concert. I'm not knocking that, but young people would prefer, hey, guy up front just hitting them with the truth. That's what the next generation wants. And I think the truth, aside from the facade, aside from, again, not knocking it, but how America has kind of constructed the church in all of its intricacies and weirdness, again, not knocking it, you strip all that back and you're just like, who is Yeshua of Nazareth? And I think when you remove the facades, Jesus penetrates even the most hardened of hearts.
Well, and like, in light of what you just said, you look at social media, right? We're all exhausted from social media. We're all addicted to it, but we're all exhausted. And I think a lot of young people, a lot of things on social are not real. They're not true. It's a highlight reel of things that it captures great moments, but you're not like, when your kids are screaming and life is chaotic, you're not snapping pictures of that and putting it on Instagram, right? So I think there's this other element of people just craving real, true, not theatrics, just very basic worship. And
I like that a lot, actually, because truth is something that I feel like we naturally crave as human beings, and oftentimes we are fed artificial truths, if you will, things that are meant to temporarily fulfill us, things that are said to be true, but and they fulfill that desire for truth temporarily, but the more and more we study and look into things, the more they crumble. And so when that desire to truth starts to grow and grow and grow, and you keep getting one false truth after another, once you land on God, once you land on Jesus and start to realize, wow, yeah, this is the truth, you can't stop. I mean, that's what's so powerful about having an infinite God, is that he is infinitely fulfilling.
I mean, on the gender issue, you can go down the line, right? There are very specific issues that we have as a culture led people down a path that is not only untrue, it's destructive. And so I think we're going to see more of this sort of unfold as some of those lies and deceits become clearer to people, not just on that issue, but many other ones. And so I think that's what's fueling this. And politically, again, we're seeing the same thing. People feeling like they were lied to, not told the truth, that the media hid information, right? Totally different thing, not in light of the faith, but but it mirrors that quest for truth that people are on right now. And I think that's why you saw the country shift, and these spiritual shifts are happening at the same time.
Awesome. So I want to show you some verses that kind of hit me while watching this video and give you my thoughts. So one of the things that kind of came to mind when watching this video is essentially where we have gone wrong and where we have gone astray and where society has turned away from God. So Jeremiah 17:9 reads, "The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately sick. Who can understand it?" Proverbs 28:26, "Whoever trusts in his own mind is a fool, but he who walks in wisdom will be delivered." Romans 11:33-34, "Oh, the depth of the riches and wisdom and knowledge of God! How unsearchable are his judgments, and how instructable his ways. For who has known the mind of the Lord, or who has seen, or who has been his counselor?" Isaiah 55, verse 8-9, For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. Then Genesis 3:5, For God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. Satan's big temptation implied that knowing and having knowledge apart from God would make you like God. And I genuinely believe that's what he's been doing with society, is trying to make the supernatural aspects of creation appear completely natural. And by doing so, humans then have the capability to keep looking and searching for truth and trying to explain reality using naturalism. And it doesn't work. Not at all. So when you think that you can find all the answers, and when you think that God is not the answer and that you can find truth and meaning and purpose apart from God, you are making yourself out to be God. You are your own God. So my closing message is trust in Jesus, and he has all the answers. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you later.